Everyone, and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason. A speed run today because actually IRL, as of recording this, I have to leave in about 15 minutes. So, we're going to do a quick one today that was played on Tropical Assault between 16 different commanders, all vying for control of this watery wasteland. Spawning here is our blue Cortex commander, spawning on the rear beach side of the blue team here. It's going to be none other than Blossom. 43 open skill silver chevrons to boot to show us what they've got here on the front line. Kind of the front line. Actually, I guess it's more of the back line. Hold on, sorry, let me adjust that. Yeah, probably more of a back line. Almost a flex position, really. I can see that supporting either one of these lines would be really, really useful, but also getting that T2 up and running could be a viable strategy here as well. I'm very curious to see what they decide to do here. Spawning on the front line here for the red team, it's going to be none other than Irish Stud 14. The red Cortex commander here, who's going to be sure and away firing off a whole bunch of units on the front line, going into one of those good old-fashioned Cortex spot labs, and going to be vying for control over this watery midsection right here. Now, there's some interesting... I've seen some interesting strategies on this map, but probably one of my favorite, one of the ones that I liked a lot, was actually these frontline commanders, like where Jinxer is, where the purple commander Zymoran is, where the tan commander and the hot pink commander are, going into naval labs. Yeah, I know, that sounds crazy, right? Like, going into a naval lab on the front line seems bizarre. But your front line largely consists of these little islands and inlets that are very, very assaultable by frigates and destroyers. It means that actually if you have the right units and you manage to get them out on the field, boats can be really, really effective in the middle of the map right here, and especially into the mid-game when you're going up against that T2. Oftentimes T1 vehicles and T1 boats specifically can go up against T2 bots relatively easily. It's kind of a weird interaction, not one we get the opportunity to look at all too often. Sometimes it comes up, especially on supremacy, I tend to notice. But this is certainly one situation where I can imagine any sort of boat interaction is going to go positively for whatever team does decide to make that play. Right now it's maximum aggression, all steam ahead for the red, well, the blue commanders and the red commanders, but the blue have put more force out on the field, more footing on the field. I've been waiting to see who's going to be able to reclaim all this, but it looks like with some excellent defense, the green commanders are going to be able to get a res bot on top of this. Oh, Blitz tank coming in from behind, taking cover behind the rock right there. Hides behind the gigantic rock so that it can't be targeted down. Araby, the brown commander, moves over here as we try and make sure this res bot can escape with its life. Ooh, manages to flash it down. The red commander with a couple of those grunts, nicely done. And it'll be the brown commander that manages to take over the midsection of the map for now. Potato Van Habsburg, the green commander, is now standing here on the front lines. Going to be, well, toe-to-toe with Irish Stud 14 right now. With that flanking from the Blitz, though, that commander is taking a lot of damage all of a sudden. That's two dead commanders right there. Boom! Goes the red commander, taking down the green alongside him, meaning, of course, that the brown commander is going to have all that metal to enjoy, reclaiming the likes of which going to be a huge boon to the economy here. Uh-oh. Gunboats in the backline. Candyman going for a submarine and a res sub first. This is an interesting build order here. Gunboat's going to be pretty happy to tear down anything they can find over on this side. Firing away with one of those sets of laser cannons. The gunboat, similar to the Elsa, unable to fire both of its cannons at the same time, is definitely an issue. There we go. Tearing down, slowly but surely, tearing down the energy production here for the pink commander. Very annoying to deal with. Meanwhile, gunboat's also going to be able to find the, the construction boat here for the yellow commander. Nice. That's a tremendous pickoff. Shuts down the metal extractor, or at the very least the last of the metal extractor. Pings OP, cries out the yellow commander, who was hoping to see his, you see some ping on the map, but didn't actually end up getting any. Middle of the map has been reclaimed. The resbots eating up all the plants, trees, rocks, and other things that are useful, and of course those wreckages as well, funneling back a whole bunch of metal into the red economy. Base over here in shambles right now, my goodness. Yeah, these blitzes are sitting in the base of the red commander after cleaning up whatever run-by it was that ended up taking out the red commander while he was focused on the naval lane. And now we've got Blossom and Goph stepping forward here to try and take down these LLTs, please. Okay. A bit of a strange play there from the blue and green commanders. Blossom diving the commander directly into the LLTs, I guess demonstrating that even at 43 open skill, there is still room always for some, shall we say, suspect maneuvers. Well, alright. Blue and green going to be resurrected, or reclaimed here, rather, by... the majority reclaimed here by the maroon commander, if not all of it. The hot pink commander getting in on that action as well, though. Blossom's second commander on the front lines here, also in a lot of trouble. Raphael 972 going in for the D-gun. Oh, commander wreckage is underwater, so it's undegunnable. But there might actually be a benefit here for the maroon commander. Tried to degun it, but realized, actually, probably just reclaim some of that. Yeah. Eat up that feast of metal right there. Can't actually knock it off the map, though, and is going to take some serious damage from those thugs. You need to be so careful. There we go. D-Gun finally manages to wipe that off the face of the earth, but uh-oh, Raphael very low. Oh, one more volley. Boom goes the maroon commander, taking out the brown commander as well. Oh my god, what a graveyard in the midsection of the map. We have, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 commanders down. And counting. We are a mere 6 minutes into this game, and we already have 6 commanders dead in the midsection here. That is 4 commanders right now available for the red team and 5 for the blue. Technically putting the blue team slightly at an advantage. Is that another commander going down over here? Oh my goodness. The tank commander falls on the right-hand side here as well. It looks like there was some static defenses that managed to actually kill the tank commander. You can almost tell the story. They sent the D-gun as the static defenses killed the commander. That's why both of them don't exist anymore. As far as the Navy game has gone, it looks like things have stabilized in favor here of the Seafoam Green commander. Meanwhile, the Powder Blue is in a lot of trouble. Those Elsa, getting a beautiful surround on that frigate, broadsiding that frigate, and meaning that all 4 of their barrels, all 2 of their guns firing away simultaneously, going to be able to do a whole bunch of damage and blast down that frigate basically instantly. And it's a good old-fashioned thug push. Blossom here, holding the line with the mightiest of all T1 bots here for the Cortex faction. It's just a simple thug push. They got a lot of HP, they got a relatively good sustain, they do a decent amount of damage, they have fair range, they're basically a well-rounded unit with decent stats across the board. And that's kind of the key, right? You need something that's relatively mass-producible, easy enough to micro, does enough on its own that you don't have to worry about individually controlling each one of them, and has enough sustain to last long enough to actually do that, right? It's the triangle of things that a unit has to have and beyond all reason to be really good, or at the very least effective in its current situation. And that's exactly what the thugs are meant to do right here for the front line of the blue commander. Granted that with all that metal being reclaimed right here, we have more than enough to go into, say for instance, T2 if we wanted. We could also expand into vehicle production. There's a lot of open opportunities here, but I'm curious to see why we're not going for any of them. This is what I was talking about, though. Cyan Commander Jinxer does go into one of those boat labs in order to put some destroyers on, effectively, the front line. And that's great. That's, I mean, if any chance you could get Navy units to line up against ground units, you're going to be in a great situation here. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing. These frigates, destroyers, they have so much range, so much firepower. Very expensive, mind you, but Jinxer can afford it, especially with all that metal that was put down on the front lines here, as long as we do kill this laser tower that's been doing a bunch of damage right now. Suddenly, all these units on the front are going to fall really quick. I mean, you can see 2 or 3 shots from the frigates tears down those grunts pretty nicely. Just a couple more than that will tear down all the thugs here, and just like that, Fantastic Maw, the pink commander, goes boom on the left-hand island. Beautifully done. The only issue with the boats, of course, being that you can't reclaim the commanders or really any of the wreckage that's left in the middle of these islands. Definitely a little bit of a bummer. Not the end of the world, though. T2 Rocket Spiders now out here for the red commander. Rocket Spiders, we also have a couple of Hounds firing away into the distance here. Hounds packing quite a wallop, but obviously it is only so much that there's 2 of them. Recluse trying desperately to get some connections here with that multi-launch rocket pod sticking out of its rumpus. Its rumpus bumpus has not enough firepower to take down those destroyers, though, certainly. Like I said, destroyers sometimes can even go up against those T2 relatively nonchalantly. They have a lot of firepower, huge sustain, and tons of damage there. Or range, rather. They're really, really effective at dealing with most of the T2, most of the early T2 units that come out. Rocket Spiders, Hounds, even Sheldon to a degree. Still, though, looking like T1 here for the blue team, and we're just going to go into some bombers. I think that's a great idea. Reading this properly and saying, hey, if the red team is going into T2, it means likely they're not spending the resources on building up an air force. It means that they're going to be vulnerable to that air. And it's a read that the red team should be making, too, realizing, hey, I don't have a air player here because we had a tech player instead. Means that we should probably go ahead and set down some static defenses, some static anti-air defenses. Nettles or thistles or chainsaws, eradicators, whatever your defensive choice may be. Look at these boats, though. Doing a great job. Yeah, I don't know where the red commander got some boats from. I'm assuming they were handed over by the yellow commander, but yeah, doing a great job. Making it so costly for these units to stay anywhere near the water here, and obviously, it's all near the water. But there we go. We've got the Navy here of the Cyan Commander helping out as well, and it's pushed all the way through the midsection. Now Jinxer is pushed up onto land, is going to claim these metal extractors, and the blue team at an immense advantage. Numerically speaking, just barely pulling into the lead as the metal production has gone into a 4% advantage here for the blue, but as that metal production advantage remains higher, eventually that scale starts to slip towards the blue Empire's favor. Yeah, man, medium tanks just don't cut it, do they? Against the boats, there's really no comparison. The medium tanks just melt away under the fire of those frigates and destroyers. Frigates are basically the medium tank of the sea. And destroyers, I guess, are like the czars of the sea. Costing a little less than the czar, but almost as effective, firing away with a heavy, large AoE, high-damage projectile that does tons and tons of damage to any of those relatively lightly or even medium-armored units on the field here. Green forces sweeping in. The red team calls a resign vote. Sharpshooters on the field, but the bombers are on the way. Bombers deploying their payload directly on top of the anti-air tower right there, blowing up that bomb-resistant... Oh no, these aren't bomb-resistant, pardon me. The pop-up anti-air missile battery, the ferret right there. I thought those were bomb-resistant, but apparently only the chainsaw is. These ferrets are trying their very best, but they actually are blown apart pretty easily right here by these bombers, I want to say. Bombers opting to go for the anti-air rather than the T2 lab. It's a long-haul decision. It means I'm going to go ahead and harass this base for a while. I don't want to be taken down while I'm doing it. And there we go. Bombers taking out the last of the anti-air means that they're pretty much free reign, free roam to do whatever they'd like. Wouldn't mind seeing them changing targets here to maybe try and deal with this air production facility here for the red commander. Now they're headed back towards the yellow commander on the high seas, trying to blow up some of those tidal generators that those constructors are working so hard on. Love the sharpshooters in the mix right here, but that's a lot of grunts. It's a great read from Potato Van Helsing. Is it? No, pardon me, from Goaf. Reading that there's sharpshooters on the field, but oh, there goes the last commander. Blown to smithereens, and just like that, it's going to be the blue team that takes this rapid-paced victory and beyond all reason. Some excellent strategic work right there, and I love to see that the blue team did eventually pivot into Navy and was able to decimate the red forces on the front with it. A fabulous little use case for those naval vessels. Thanks a ton for watching, and if you did enjoy this rapid-paced game of Beyond All Reason, let me know about it down below in the comment section. Feel free to join our Discord as well, which is always linked down in the description, and I hope you have a fantabulous rest of your day, and I will see you in the very next game Beyond All Reason. Peace out, everybody.